Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Amy Aronson here in the Fox 45 Weather Center, where it is very, very early. As you can see from the time here, it is, 3:35. So I've been here for a little bit working on my forecast. Yes, I still just use pencil or I should say pen and paper to get that done. I like to write it all out. I like to look at the numbers. I've got my little, let me see if I can focus this here so you can see what I'm talking about. I've got all my numbers here. I have my list of things to do for the morning. And starting off my list of things to do, I wanted to kind of go through what I do when I look at a winter forecast and kind of fine tune our snowfall amounts. So the question on everybody's mind, how much snow are we going to see this weekend? Woke up to a nice detailed email from Gerard, so I was just reading through that. And then I was looking at the updated stuff to see if everything still matches what he was thinking late last night. And it looks like it is. And I'm not going to hop on camera myself. You probably won't see my face during this just because I'm not totally ready yet. But we do start up at 4:30, so you can get more details then. So let's start off taking a look at all the information we look at before we actually get our forecast together. So I'm going to start you off here on the National Weather Services page. I kind of always like to use this as my baseline just to see what they're thinking. And then I get into all the more detailed models and all the stuff that goes along with it. So I'll start you off with this. This kind of just gives us an idea of what's happening. Obviously today is still pretty decent, but then we're tracking that drop in temperatures tonight. I actually saw that they issued this cold weather advisory because of that, just because of how low the temperatures are going to get, but also how low the wind chills are going to get. And I'll show you that in a second. But of course, they've got us under that winter storm watch Saturday night all the way through Sunday, wrapping up by early Monday as this winter storm really takes shape. So that's kind of the big picture, the overview of what's going to happen. You can go down here and anybody can actually access this page. So if you're ever curious what they're saying, you guys can check it out yourself, National Weather Service, and then just search Baltimore. Then you can go here and look at a more detailed view. I'll show you where I click that hourly forecast. You can click this. And this kind of gives you a more detailed picture of everything that's going on. So yeah, look at these wind chills. That's the blue graph right here. Feel like temperatures below freezing, definitely, but below 0 degrees overnight tonight through tomorrow morning. So yeah, that's how cold it is going to get leading into this winter storm. They break down precip chances. They are showing the storm starting around, it looks like 7:30, 8 o'clock. And that's kind of like what I was seeing too. And I'll show you the forecast models in more detail. Saturday night, they're showing the snow starting then. So this kind of gives me a nice overview, shows me where to begin. So that's piece number one. I look at a couple of things for temperatures. I won't get too much into that right now just because we're talking more about snow. The only temperatures that will really matter are the ones that are actually going to be kind of higher up above our heads, and that will determine the type of precip we end up seeing. Because you can see from the National Weather Service here, they're talking some snow and then also that period of a wintry mix. So that's going to cut down on some of our snowfall totals. The other piece of information I look at from them is we've got this little chat here going. Meteorologists can join this. This is all the information they've been providing. They've got their snowfall maps here and whatnot, which I will show you. And they're really great about messaging us back. So if one of us have a question, we can just shoot them a little message and they will get back to us and answer all of our concerns. They also post very detailed discussions, which I will not read through when I'm chatting with you guys just because it takes a minute. As you can see, it's pretty technical stuff here. I do like this. They've been posting their key messages recently, so that kind of summarizes things nicely. So yeah, high confidence for that winter storm, late Saturday into Sunday, frigid temperatures, and then potential for quick light round of snow midweek. So that would be next week, I guess. They're looking ahead at that, and I haven't had a chance to look into that yet, but I will after we wrap up this discussion. So they talk about all the discussions here, the amount of moisture, when they think we'll see that switch over from snow to sleet to freezing rain and all that good stuff. So pretty nice detailed discussion there. So we check that out. I like to skim through this and see what their big messages were so we can check out what their snowfall forecast was. This is the low end. Low end, they're saying 5 inches for us here in Baltimore. Let's see what this is. This looks like their ice amounts. That would be the high end, so 9/100 of an inch. Let's see if they have their snowfall forecast here too. I think this might be it. So this is their high end. 14 inches is their high end. And it looks like their expected forecast, this was as of last night anyways, 11 inches in Baltimore. So nice to check that out too. I always, of course, skim Twitter, see what's going on there, check in with what everyone else is saying. There's Gerard's update from last night. So check in on all that good stuff. Okay, now let's get into the forecast models. We use this service called Weatherbell. They provide a good overview of all the different models. I'm just going to kind of skim you through everything, show you the latest updates, and then we'll talk some numbers. So the good thing is timing looks pretty solid right now. This is pretty much held since I was in here yesterday. So let me flip you back. Okay, so we're going to start things off. This would be Saturday night at like 11 o'clock. You can see that moisture approaching. So Euro does have a little bit of a later arrival time, but the snow does start up overnight Saturday into Sunday morning. So this would be like 8 a.m. As you can see, that's some pretty heavy snow underway. That's when we see most of the accumulations is Sunday morning, 11 a.m., same deal. It is showing that changeover to the pink stuff. That's the sleet, the freezing rain during the afternoon. I talked about this yesterday a little bit, but this is not because of the surface temperatures. They are definitely going to stay in the 20s. I think I'm going 26 on Sunday, and that is it. It's because of this little layer of air high above our heads that's going to be above freezing. So some milder air kind of works its way in there. So what happens is all precip starts to snow high up in the atmosphere, but it falls through that layer, it starts to melt, and then it refreezes upon hitting the surface. So that's what gives you the sleet and the freezing rain. Sleet would be the tiny pellets that you can hear. Freezing rain looks like rain, falls as rain, but then upon contact with the ground, which is obviously going to be below freezing, it freezes and creates that glaze of ice. So you're going to have that on top of all the snow. So it looks like that ice threat will continue through Sunday evening. Euro is showing this wrapping up overnight Sunday, so it's definitely gone by Monday morning. But at that point, of course, big impacts will continue. Okay, so that's the Euro. Now let's take a look at the American model, see what their timing's looking like. So starting things off, that looks like the same exact timing, late Saturday night, Sunday morning, waking up to snow, and then they're also showing that ice potential here just a little later. It looks like they've got the snow hanging on a little longer, and they have this lingering a little later through Monday morning. So they're still expecting some snow showers through about 7, 8 a.m. on Monday. Let's take a look at another one. Okay, so those are the longer range forecast models. Now, because we're getting closer to the storm, we can look at ones that show a better picture of what's going to happen and only come into range as you get closer to a storm. So NAM is one of them. So I actually haven't looked at theirs yet today. Let's see what they're showing. So similar timing, they're showing the snow moving in overnight. This would be like 11 o'clock. So like 1 in the morning starting. They've got snow to start Sunday morning, but then they show a faster transition to the sleet, the freezing rain. So that's ultimately going to determine our snowfall totals, depending on when that happens. Because as soon as that happens, we're done with the snow, and then it's just going to be the ice on top of that. So it looks like they have that happening a little earlier and continuing and wrapping up overnight. So they also have it out of here by Monday. So now let's take a look at some totals. Okay, so we can check the totals. So yeah, NAM is definitely showing less snow because they've got that transition over to ice faster. Still showing a solid 7 to 8 inches north and west in like Carroll County, but only showing like 4.5 in Baltimore. So that's interesting. This is the American model, the GFS, showing about 10 inches in Baltimore, 14 north and west. And then let's take a look at the Euro. Okay, so this is kind of in line with what our forecast is going to be. So about 7 inches at Baltimore. Looks like 10 to 11 north and west. So yeah, so that's our main line of thinking. North and west will see the most snow just because it's going to stay snow longest. Everybody else, as soon as they switch over to that ice, then of course the snow accumulations will stop. Okay, so that's the stuff I'm looking at on this computer, just a regular old computer with all that data. Now if we go to my graphics computer, we've got a forecast model on here too. I wanted to show you guys, this is the Barron model. So this is what we often will show on TV. This is a nice detailed model. Ooh, yeah, look at all that cold. Did you guys see that? 4, 6, 8 degrees. Whew, that's going to hurt. Okay, so Saturday's going to be cold. We know that. It looks like things will get started late Saturday. Okay, so they've got a little bit of an earlier arrival time, 8 o'clock. It's going to take a minute for snow to reach the ground. Air's going to be pretty dry and cold. I'd say by 10 o'clock, it's actively snowing Saturday night, showing snow all night. And then they also are going to show that transition over to that sleet, that freezing rain looks like. So they've got that happening a little earlier. It looks like by the end of the morning, especially for Baltimore and southward. As you can see, there's that area holding on to the snow longer, north and west. And everybody dealing with the ice then Sunday evening. Whew, it's a lot of ice right on top of all that snow. Let's see when they end it. Okay, so they ended about 1, 2 in the morning on Monday. Okay. So all the timing is looking fairly consistent. If we take a look at how much snow this model is showing, a little lower, 5 to 6 inches. Okay, a little more if you're in Westminster. We do have this graphic, which is great for us. I don't often use this on air because we don't just want to show a bunch of random numbers to you. Oops, let me find it. But it does show what all the different forecast models are thinking. So it's a nice way to kind of look at it all in one graphic and then come up with our numbers. So Barron is the one that I was showing you, 5.8. Euro has gone down since yesterday. GFS is closer to 10. And then, of course, we've got a few more that are a little higher. So it looks like NAM, I think that one isn't totally updated there, but I think everybody else is in pretty good shape. Okay, so that seems like in line with what we're thinking. So we take a look at all these numbers, lots of averaging and math, but also just kind of thinking about what's actually happening with the atmosphere to come up with our forecast. So I'm not going to take you through my entire brain process because it's a little complicated, but I did just tweak this from yesterday. Yesterday we had it a little higher. This is kind of what Gerard's thinking was late last night. Still looks to be the case this morning, with the most likely scenario being 7 to 9 inches, but areas getting at least 4 to 5, if not upwards of 12 inches, especially areas north and west. So I'll probably work on updating a snowfall map of some sort today at some point. This is kind of a look at what the weather system is showing. This is our Barron model. So it is showing now this whole big blue area. That would be a 4 to 8 inch zone there, probably closer to 8 inches. And then north and west, that dark purple would definitely be the higher amounts, so 8+ inches there, so closer to getting a foot of snow. So yeah, some double-digit snowfall is definitely possible, but I think it's definitely mainly north and west. If we take a look at the sleet potential, oops, I'm clicking too fast. The sleet potential, yep, that's definitely there. Let's check out freezing rain. That's the pink stuff, yeah, so definitely going to be sleet and freezing rain on top of all that snow. Let's see. Oh, we've also got this graphic. This kind of shows at least how much snow we are thinking we'll see in terms of percentages. So it looks like everybody's definitely going to get 3 inches of snow, 100% chance for that. In terms of 6 inches of snow, Frederick has the highest chance, but even Baltimore, pretty decent chance at 80%. A foot, lower chances in Baltimore, higher in Frederick. Lowest chances in the Eastern Shore. So that makes sense. Most snow will be north and west, and then kind of decreases from there. But either way, it's going to be super impactful. Impacts will be the same at this point, whether we get 7 inches or whether we get 10 inches. That's going to be the snow to start overnight Saturday into early Sunday. And then the ice on top of that is what's going to create the really treacherous conditions, make roads almost impassable at times as we head through Sunday. And then even Monday morning, I think things are going to be dicey out there just because we've got the snow and the ice, and then temperatures are, of course, going to be below freezing. You can take a look at my little forecast here. Temperatures are pretty low. We've got 20s and single digits overnight. So yes, long cold stretch coming up that, guys, continues all the way through Thursday. Okay, so let's wrap this up because we are now at 3:51 and I still have lots to do before we hop on at 4:30. I'm gonna update all my graphics, kind of put these in order, also get myself together so I am all ready for some TV time. But make sure you guys join us starting at 4:30 all the way through 10 a.m. I will be providing little updates throughout the show. I love to tweak my forecast. 5.5 hours is a long time. Lots changes during that time. So through the course of the morning, I will continue to fine tune this forecast and get you guys all ready for this big winter storm coming this weekend. Ready or not, here we go.